Well, hi everybody. Welcome to the first Meno Lounge of 2025. I'm Julie Gordon-White, CEO of MenoWell, Menopause Energy and Protein Bars, and I love a January. I love a Monday, but I love a January even better. We had such an awesome 2024. Thanks to all of you. We started off the year at Mary Claire's cruise, which was so fun. We were on Good Morning America. I'm thinking all the fun things. I went to the Bahamas with my family. I was in New York for a whole month with all the menopause events with this swell. I know I'll miss some things. But we had an incredible 2024 at MenoWell World. Thanks to all of you. So fun. So here we are kicking it off. And by the way, everybody decided to triple down on their double chocolate brownie in December. So you completely sold this out. We will be back in stock on Amazon, our site, everything in about a week and a half or so on double chocolate brownie. But I really want you focusing on peanut butter chocolate right now anyway, because peanut butter chocolate has 8 grams of protein in it and 25% of your daily fiber. That's what we need. That is what we need. Here's a little thing. I'm actually turning 60 this year. I can't even believe it. But it's 60, sexy 60. So I'm even more than ever focused on body transformation. I think it's really sexy when you feel strong, you feel good in your body, eating the best ever. So anyway, triple down on peanut butter and chocolate right now. The double chocolate brownie will be back, but focus on this because you're going to get your 8 grams of protein and 25% of your daily fiber. Do not forget fiber, because fiber is protein's BFF, all right? You need both because you have all that protein. Things are not going to be moving. Your gut health is not going to be happy. So make sure you get your peanut butter, because that is what you're going to do all in one swoop. Now, this time of year, I like mine heated up a little bit. Our house is so cold, so the bars get really firm. I pop it in the microwave for just a second, and then boom, everything is all melty, and it really gets that like late afternoon sweet thing that I want going on. So here you go. Get them before you guys sell these out too. Actually, no, we have a whole new production run coming. So all good things. Let's bring up our guest today. We are getting your sexy back. Kate Wells, let's see, here we go. You're gonna hear me say the words sexy a lot this year because it goes with 60. So, and when I say sexy, I mean like food, nutrition, strength, and all the things. Kate, hi.
Hello there. Good to
Happy
see you.
New Year. Happy 2025. All the good things already.
All right, so many good things already. Yes.
Are you off to a good start? Or is your 2025 as sexy as you want it to be?
Well, we are definitely off to a good start. Yes, things are hopping here at Paula Games, very definitely.
I love it.
Yeah.
Super good. Let's jump in. So first, your company is called Parlor Games. We have to start there. Tell me why Parlor Games and what that represents.
So when when Kirsty and I came up with the idea that we wanted to bring this very special estradiol cream to women, we wanted it to be playful, and Kirsty, my business partner, is very good at that playful side of things, and we thought, all right, parlors. Women have sat around in parlors plotting revolutions and helping themselves for as long as there have been women and parlors. So we created a community for our women, and but we also wanted to help them get their sexy gains back in their life. So we combined the two, parlor games, and if you really want to take that idea a little bit further, well, there's 2 parlors. There was the ones where you sit around and drink tea and plot revolutions, and then it's kind of a play on, well, your other parlor where all the fun stuff happens. So.
Right. And that's what I was wondering because, and that's an English word that you use more than what we would say like your living room or your family room
Right.
or your TV room hanging out. And so I was like, okay, how far are they taking this towards the sexy time or both
Right.
or all the things? But the playfulness and parlor games, that I love that because especially in midlife, we need to be as playful and joyful as we can. And I know even, for myself, I get so focused on trying to share MenoWell with, with women that some days I'm just like, I forget to have fun because, all the logistics of doing the things that we do.
Mhm.
But that's what the joy and the fun is where it's all about. So why not have extra joy in the parlor, right?
Right,
So
right.
I love it. Okay, so tell us about your background and why how you developed your product and why.
I've had a long career in the integrative medicine space. I have an MBA. I love the business process and like to run business as well. Like to have them be a workplace that is really, that really thrives, where people really thrive. And I learned a lot about hormones. I used to run a salivary hormone testing laboratory. I have worked in as a product development in a genetics lab. And so I attended hundreds of medical conferences and as a non-clinician got to learn about all this fascinating information about how our bodies work, about biochemistry, and yes, absolute biochemistry nerd. And as time went on, I began to realize that actually the women don't know. They don't know what's going on with their hormones. They don't understand. There's this cloud of oftentimes there's obfuscation. They just don't know it, and practitioners don't know. And then one day Kirsty came to me and said, "Hey, I'm starting to have this issue with vaginal dryness. Do you know anything about this?" And I said, "You have come to the right place, my friend."
You're like,
And
yes, unfortunately I do, and from different angles.
so I helped her with a product that helped with her issues. And we sat around and we sat around and we sat around, and I said, "We have to bring this to women. We have to bring this." And it just so happens that not only have we been best friends for many years, but it turns out we're actually really good business partners as well. I focus on, the science side of things and the business management, and she is an absolute wizard at reaching out and connecting with women through social media. So we have together been able to take this idea of women need this. Women need help with this area of their intimate health, and bring them a product which is transforming. So we're pretty happy that our different backgrounds have got us to this place. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I met her at an event, and so Life in the Pause. And so she's fantastic. Love it. She's a great representative of the brand out there. So on your website, you talk about science, solutions, and sisterhood. And I love that so much. And so tell us about the science. That was your background in bringing these products, because, there's some controversy about topical products. Do they work? The bioidenticals, on. So let's just hit that head on and address maybe some of the hard questions, or that women have for you about the products, because they're cream based. Yeah.
Right. Right. Very, very much so. And you have to be careful what you ask for, because I can talk about this for hours. So if the screen goes
Give
blank,
us the
I'll know
best.
my
Give us
time
the
is
good
up.
stuff. Yeah. The best of the best.
So I have been a partner in a practitioner line of hormone creams, and so was heavily involved in helping educate practitioners about the role that hormones play in health. And so I have that knowledge and that background. And let's just talk about how we deliver hormones. There are different ways. You can do them through the skin. You can do them as a pill. You can do them as pellets, which are inserted into the skin for slow release. You can do them sublingual, which is like a way to absorb them through the mouth. And there has been some controversy about topical hormones. And that kind of gets into some science pretty quickly, because it's all about how you measure hormones. The standard for measuring hormones is in serum, but that does not work for topical hormones when you put hormones in the cream, hormone creams on the skin.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is this disbelief or this unbelief or this confused understanding of the role that topical hormones can play. If you measure them, in the wrong medium, which is serum, you will not see them. And so there is this belief, oh, they're not there, therefore they don't work. But there are millions of women in this country who use topical hormones very effectively, whether they are compounded, whether they are patches, whether they are the higher end creams that you can find available through retail sources, of which we're one. Now, the way you do measure them is actually in saliva. And that's a whole other conversation that we could one day get into, because I think that's useful for women to understand. But when you look in saliva, you can see those hormones. And so you know that they're doing their work. But it's more than that. When you talk to women and you look at their symptoms before, and then they're using their creams, and then you look at their symptoms afterwards. For so many women, many of those symptoms resolve, they go away, and they're feeling so much better. They're feeling like they're normal cells.
I love
So,
that you said that, because even traditional medical doctors that are specialized in menopause say that, they make adjustments, whether that's for a pharmaceutical or not, based on how women feel. And
right,
so I love that, let's trust ourselves. Let's trust women to say this helps or it doesn't, or it's too much or it's too little. And so I like that you have a tool of measurement, which is saliva. That's interesting. I hadn't heard that before. And that there's different ways you have to measure in the way that a cream is measurable. It's kind of like baking, and you can't use a cup measure or like volume for a liquid as you would for a powder, right? Volume
right.
doesn't work for powder. So you have to use a different metric in order to understand if something works, along with how a woman feels. So I like that a lot. Really,
Yeah,
really
very
good.
much
Okay,
so.
keep going, keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so when we think about how hormones work in the body, um, we have little doorways or receptors on cells. And for many of the hormones, we have them throughout our body. Our product, Silky Peach Cream, is very specifically related to vaginal health and urinary health and the health of the vulva. And there are receptors for estrogen in those areas. But for many of our hormones, we have receptors all over, in our brains, in our lungs, in our digestive system, in our bones, everywhere. And so once women get towards menopause, and then very definitely post-menopause, there are all those little doors saying, feed me, feed me, feed me, give me a hormone so I can do my thing. And as our hormones drop or diminish and they're gone, then those cells can't work appropriately. Now, when we think very specifically about vaginal health, urinary health, and so on, um, the skin of the vagina gets very kind of dried up and sore because it doesn't have this reservoir, the supply of estrogen. And so by using a topical cream, you can gradually replenish and rebuild the reservoir of estrogen that is needed in that particular area of the body, so that the skin goes, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing. Those little receptors on the cells are like, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I've got estrogen again. I can work. I can do my thing.
Right.
And women are never going to get back to having that sense of lubrication that they had when they were 20s and 30s, but they can definitely turn back the clock from the dryness that many women experience in their late 50s and beyond.
The
Just
discomfort. I
mhm,
know on your website you have a lot of great FAQs talking about stinging and things like that. It's because if it's not being used, then it's going to be raw in the beginning. And so, but because also there's just the overall vaginal health, right? Even if
mhm,
you're not using it for, parlor games, I'm going to use your term.
right,
But just having healthy skin, right? We don't want any of our skin to dry
right,
out. So that's just yet another reason, because also incontinence and urinary tract UTIs, like
mhm.
all of those things are reasons to keep things plump and not dry.
That's right. For overall health, one of the greatest challenges to the body is when it's in a state of inflammation, where there is some damage or there is some pathogen and it's causing inflammation in the body. You know, when that goes unchecked, it sets the scene for so many other health conditions, cardiovascular disease, Alzheimer's. And we tend not to correlate those with inflammation, but it's whether the body's immune system is saying, "Ooh, something I've got to fix here, something I've got to fix here," that creates inflammation. And so we can do our part by making sure that our skin surface is healthy. We tend not to think about the vagina as a layer that has skin in it, in the same way we don't tend to think about the urethra, the tube that goes from the bladder to the outside world. That is a layer of skin on the inside. We don't tend to think about that, and yet those are important skin barriers. And the skin's primary purpose is to keep pathogens and anything disruptive out of the body. So keeping those areas of the skin very strong and healthy and supple will go a long way to reducing inflammation, and that keeps us healthy in the long term.
Yeah, I mean, it's no different than brushing our teeth-ish, you know. I mean, right. You want to keep your mouth fresh and clean, and all our gums healthy. So I love that you brought that up. That when things get dry, then that creates that inflammation, another form, because you don't think about inflammation in that way. You think about it as something that you ate or other injuries to the body. And in some ways, it's like an injury. So super important. I love it. I know we are not talking about nutrition and lifting weights and fitness today, but we're talking about a different kind of fitness, because who doesn't want to have their sexy on point in 2025? Like, I think I want to do all the sexy things, but ow, 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 I don't know. I changed my mind, right? Because that really impacts our mindset too, and how we think about ourselves and all those things. So thanks for what you're doing. How about some tips for women that you may have brought today about just, keeping things healthy, their vaginal skin healthy, feeling good, reclaiming that, joy that we kind of lost when things get too dry and uncomfortable?
Well, we know that estriol, the weakest of the estrogens, is a great one to use. Let me just diverge just a little bit. I will circle back to your question very specifically, but let me just diverge for a minute to talk about estrogen. Estrogen has had a really bad rap. There was a study that was stopped about 22 years ago called the Women's Health Initiative. And one of the, as it turns out, erroneous conclusions that came from that study was that estrogen causes cancer. And the media got hold of this, and it was nuts. It was nuts. Women stopped using their hormone replacement, and for years have been struggling because they were without estrogen, without progesterone, without the hormones that are important for all aspects of their body functioning. Fast forward through time, this material from the study gets, it's looked at, it's investigated, and it's been reanalyzed. And there's pretty conclusive evidence that no, estrogen doesn't cause cancer. It may feed it if there's an existing cancerous cell, but it doesn't cause it. And so in this time frame, women have got very nervous and very unsure about using estrogen. Now, the message is very slowly getting out there that no, actually, the risks are so small compared to the benefits. But let's talk about estriol in particular. It is the weakest of the estrogen, so it has the least growth effect. It is also anti-inflammatory. So not only is estriol feeding the cells in the vagina and the vulva in particular, it is also reducing inflammation. And so it is, very protective. So that's the very first thing that women can look at, is safely using estriol. The second thing is pelvic floor exercises. We've all heard about Kegels, and any one of us who has had vaginal deliveries and babies into this world, know the impact of that process. But it's so much more than Kegels. There's a basket of muscles that hold all those organs in place. And so it's not just the exercises that support the vagina, but it's everything throughout that pelvic region. And there are now actually lots of resources available for women, whether they go to a pelvic floor therapist to kickstart this process, or whether they find something on Instagram that helps them know what those exercises should be. So working and maintaining those exercises is important. Low sugar. Sugar is very inflammatory, whether it's in sodas, whether it's in our baked products, it finds its way into so many packaged foods. But sugar is inflammatory. And so there are bacteria that will feed off it, bacteria in the vagina that'll feed off it, bacteria in the bladder, in the urethra that will feed off it. And so keeping a very low sugar diet is super important for that.
That's huge. No one has talked about that in terms of vaginal health. I mean, we think about don't eat, we don't want to eat sugar because of fat, excess fat, weight gain. We know it's not good for us, but hey, that's impacting us down there. It's messing up our parlor games too. Come on. So yet another reason to be easy on the sugar. I love it. Super
Yeah,
good.
yeah, very, very, very much so. And we could do a whole conversation just on sugar. I mean, this is your world. So the other thing is, just be careful with soaps. A lot of them have fragrances in them. Those can cause irritation on the skin, and what we're trying to do is just reduce the number of things that will cause irritation. So washing daily is important. After the fun and games and shenanigans are over, it's particularly important for women to rinse everything off so that that area stays clean. All our exits are very closely located. There's the rectum, there's the vagina, and there's urethra. And as we get older, not to put too fine a point on it, everything in that area gets more wrinkled.
Oh, great.
I mean,
First of all, you said all of our exits. Yeah, okay. All of our exits are getting more. Gee whiz. Okay, thanks for that. But okay,
I know.
I don't really want that visual, but I take the impact of that, and it just makes me, I'm going to focus even a little bit more on making sure my exits are sexy. Okay,
that's right. Yeah, you've got to keep those clean because all those little folds, they're just going to absorb bacteria and hold bacteria in there. So again, no one's walking around with a mirror going, oh yes, more wrinkles. Just know that's happening. So just being conscious of that as well. Be careful in terms of using a lube. Most women, once they get into their, maybe even 40s and 50s and beyond, can really benefit from using a lube. A whole bunch of those lubes actually are more likely to cause drying. You want a lube which is going to have kind of the same balance of moisture and viscosity as the natural fluid that the body makes. And so picking a lube that is very clean, is going to fit your body well, that's a very positive. And don't hesitate to use it. Have fun with it. Be playful with it. Can
I ask, silicone-based or water-based?
Water-based. Water-based is ideal. And we did some pretty extensive research on these. Our team, I have to say, love their jobs. When you get
the R&D and Q&A on that.
I know.
Anybody wants to sign up for reach out. Follow Parlor Games Fun for when their next openings are.
Right. And so through that process, we and reading a lot of medical literature as well, just understanding the pharmacokinetics, how things all work together of lubes really helped us narrow down on a couple of products that we feel really strongly about. And so we make those available to our customers. So
I love it.
yeah.
I love it. And I just love the approach that you bring this. And, we have these conversations, and I want to share companies, women like you, so women can have more choices. There's a lot of conversation about products that are built, created, geared for women, perimenopause and post, or as Dr. Sharon Malone would say, you're menopausal forever. And I think it's important that we understand all the things that are available so we can make our own decisions. I don't think it's actually that supportive and cool when we say that, these products are coming about just to trick menopausal women to, spend their money. No, I mean, they're built by women like you, women like me, other women in the space who want to create solutions, usually to help ourselves, and then we share it with other women. And so we have to trust that women are smart, thoughtful, and can figure out what works for them.
Mm-hmm.
And do you agree, Kate? I mean, in menopause,
Yeah.
everyone is so different. We need to have all different kinds of solutions and choices so we can figure out what works best for us as an individual.
Yeah, very, very much so. And that's definitely our framework. I cannot tell you how much my heart soars every day that I get to do mission work. I am here doing what, everything in my career has brought me to this place where we have information, we have resources, we have great products that work, but it is for other women. And I think women have this unique ability to bring something forward, to birth something that is for others.
Right.
And it's quite amazing working in this space when I interact with other women like yourself who are also doing that, because it is from your heart you are bringing this forward.
Right.
We all know that women have been subject to gaslighting for far too long. And, when I allow myself, I can go to this wrathful place that can sometimes leave me speechless about how invisible women's health is. It's complicated. Hormones are complicated. And it's the brave practitioners that say, you know what, it's complicated and I love it and I'm going into it. The vast majority of practitioners have, maybe 5 hours training in menopause.
Right.
And so women are left out there trying to look for information, trying to find it here, trying to find it there. They've got confusing information. Again, this message about estrogen causes cancer, what nonsense. And I mean, there is so much confusion influenced by lobbying entities in the pharmaceutical industry, which I think continues that confusion. But there are some very straightforward steps that women can take to help replenish their hormones. If it gets more complicated, then you may need to, or you've got several things going on. You may need what's called a functional medicine practitioner, one of these practitioners who's like, oh, I love the science, I want to know it all, and I really want to help patients, as opposed to just symptom pill. So there are little pockets, because I'm connected with that world. I see there are little pockets of practitioners who really want to know this work and love this work. But for the vast majority of women, they don't have access to that. And so I think that's one of the key things about, Parlor Games is it's founded in science. And we share that, through all our articles and our blogs. We want women who are seeking this and wanting to understand. We want to make that information available, distill it, so they're like, oh, I get this.
Right.
I see.
Right. It's our responsibility, all of us in this space, to educate as much as offer services and products, because there's such a huge gap with education. And sometimes it feels like, don't women know this already? But that's because I always say we are swimming in the same soup, right? We hear it all the time. But it's just tip of the iceberg for women. So I love that you said mission, because this is your mission, this is our mission. And honestly, I think women should trust, do your research, but trust woman founded companies, because we are building things by us, for us, not for some other, only for ill-gotten gains. That's what I,
Right,
not really
right.
ill-gotten, but you know what? They come from the heart, because trust me, the companies that we are, that are building products in the menopause space, it is not an easy business to be in. It's really challenging, and there's,
Mm-hmm.
I actually was way more profitable as a business coach than in this space, but this is, so mission focused and helping
Mm-hmm.
women so they don't have to suffer the way I did, the way you did, on the women that we get to speak to. So I feel your heart in that very much, Kate.
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, I am so fortunate to live this work. It doesn't matter how long my days are, and you mentioned earlier getting stuck mired in what's involved in running a business, and it's year end, and we're frantically trying to look at our numbers and just like all the things, reconcile inventory. Like, what's reconciling inventory got to do with saving the world one vagina
Inventory,
at
the
a time?
bane of my existence. Yes.
but but it's all part of it. And if I've had a very busy day where I've been doing performance reviews, and I've been talking to a supplier, and I've been talking to the bookkeeper, and all over the place in all these different directions, and I go home and I open up Instagram and I see the comments, and I will pop into our email queue, and I will see the letters of gratitude, and just the joy that women are getting back in their lives. And it just reminds me, this is what it's all about. This is what it's all about. So yeah,
I
yeah.
echo everything that you just said. It's just seeing women enjoying the products that we make, it just compensates for all the things about shipping and stuff like that.
Yeah, what do you mean the snow in
Like,
Denver?
right. Oh shoot, we were
I
going
did
to send
not
all
approve
that
of
to New
snow in
York.
Denver.
Turn, Texas, send it to Texas instead.
Right.
That's like $20,000 worth of stuff heading into a blizzard. Bad decision, bad
Right.
decision. The joys. Good thing that we are resilient, menopausal, midlife women.
Right.
We've got this no matter what,
Yeah.
right? We'll figure it out. I love it. Well, I just want to ask you, our company's called MenoWell, but it's really about a feeling. It's about an experience of menopausing well. So what does MenoWell mean to you?
Oh, well, the first word that comes to mind is kick-ass, because by the time we're into our 50s, we have learned a lot. We know we've got 25 years of at least on our younger selves where we thought we knew a lot, but no, we didn't. So we have learned a lot. We are beginning to step into this wisdom space, just really knowing and understanding things. And then along comes menopause, like, a 10-ton truck. And, if our hormones are out of balance or insufficient, we feel tired, we feel unmotivated, our best friend is the couch. Um, we don't have the umph, the get up and go, the motivation to bring our gifts and our skill set and our wisdom to the world. And and when women begin to supplement with hormones and add back that which has been lost just with the natural progression of time and maturity, they reclaim themselves. They feel like themselves again. And if you think about how many years women can be living after that actual menopause transition, say it's in the early 50s, that's 30 years or more that women can be bringing their awesomeness to the world. And so that to me is MenoWell. It's like you go through this time, where your hormones fluctuate, and yes, it can feel like it went to hell in a handbasket, but it doesn't need to. And then after that, you're soaring, you know. It's like I have visions of like women on uh, kiteboards just flying away, like
Soaring in
doing
the
stuff, soaring. You're soaring. I think MenoWell is to do with soaring.
Mm.
Just being, having that powerful presence in the world. Not just powerful, I mean that in the sense of, you know, compassionate and caring and again, kick-assedness. It's
I
like,
love
I got this.
I've got
So,
this.
mhm.
Your words make me think about really being aligned with what's important to us, our values and who we are, and trusting ourselves. And I love what you said, but kick ass is a better way to say it. I like it.
There are times when American phrases work really
Yeah,
well.
I know. That's very American. Okay, bonus question. What are you excited about this year?
Oh my goodness. Well, we had an amazing year last year. You know, our name grew. I mean, that resulted in some people trying to copy us. And so it's been an interesting time trying to sort out the fraudsters. But hey, imitation is a form of flattery, right?
Mm,
Um, but I think it's being able to, you know, leverage the growth of interest in this area, and our name is becoming synonymous with helping women. You know, we do have practitioners now who have heard about this because they see their patients using it, and
yeah.
they tell other patients. Um, but it is very exciting, I think, that there are more and more women players coming into this area, and we are collectively engaging a deeper conversation about how menopause can be supported and how women can be empowered. And I I feel like, you know, we are potentially at the cusp of something here, and how amazing to be part of that transition, that transformation
Yeah.
of this area of healthcare for women.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you for
That,
that.
yeah,
I agree with you.
that
And
can quiver like with excitement
only
about how much we've
a
changed.
parlor games founder would say quiver with excitement. That's so good. That is bringing sexy back right there. Quivering with excitement.
Oh yeah, yeah. We want plenty of quivering going on. You know, that's part of our goal.
Right. And lube and hormones help too. I'm just saying.
Right.
I'm just saying. Well, Kate, it has been a joy and a pleasure to have you on today. I look forward to bumping into you at Menopause events. And how can women learn more about your products and all the good things?
The best way to find us is www.parlor, P-A-R-L-O-R hyphen games, games.com. That's how to find us. And you too. It's just, it's lovely, you know, to close the loop and reconnect again and have this conversation. Thank you for inviting me, and thank you for being, you know, open to sharing this information with, you know, all those women you're already helping. I just love it,
Mm,
you know, when we get to do things like this, when women like us
yeah.
talk, and it's going to help other women. So thank you
Oh,
so much for inviting me.
it's my pleasure and joy. And, this year we're going to be talking more about women founders. That's my background too before I started MenoWell. And economic empowerment is sexy. Economic
Mhm.
empowerment makes us feel more confident in our bodies, along with nutrition and strength and all those things. So we're going to be talking more and more about empowerment and women entrepreneurs this year, because I just want women to know. I mean, I did a whole TEDx talk about why women entrepreneurs should raise girl entrepreneurs. And, all women, we need to step in our economic power, because that makes all these other things work really well. And so when you're making your own money and you're using wonderful products that make you feel strong and confident and sexy, it just doesn't get any better than that in midlife. So thank you for coming on and sharing all the things around that. and to be continued, huh?
Absolutely. I would love that. Thank
Okay.
you so much for all the work that you're doing.
Thank
I
you,
know
Kate.
everyone appreciates it.
Ah, well, be well, and I'll see you around the menopause universe, or the metaverse, I guess is the fun thing to say. All right.
It's a date.
Okay. Happy 2025, everybody, and see you very, very soon. Be well. Bye now.
Bye-bye.